Hello, Internet friends. This is Danielle Pierce, creator of Real Estate Profit Lab, founder of Property Preservation Mastery. I feel like we're doing this preservation after dark tonight. So I am late. Please accept my apology for being late. I'm actually back in Chicago again. Have some meetings with my business partner. We have some fantastic things coming down the pipeline, a new company, a new launch, some new products. And so it's going to be really, really good. So that's why I'm here in Chicago for the next couple of days. And so I was traveling, dealing with the kids, doing my daughter's hair, helping with homework, figuring out lunches, getting the babysitter in place, all the mom things that I have to do. So I do thank you guys for being patient. Thank you so much for tuning in, by the way, as well. As always, if you're brand new to the channel, welcome. Please be sure to hit the like, subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So this is day 2 of our property preservation campaign, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If you missed yesterday's video, go ahead and check out the replay. There's a playlist on YouTube, which will remain up after the campaign, so you can go back and check it out. So please be sure to do that in your spare time. That video is 13 minutes. I do try to keep all my videos short, sweet, and to the point because it don't take all day to explain, pretty much anything. So that's my philosophy on that. All right, so today we're talking about preservation versus, I believe it's flipping, tax liens, and buy and hold. So we'll talk about who are good candidates to go into, those respective real estate niches, and, what characteristics do you need to have in place in order to be successful with any of those categories. But before I do that, let me make sure I got my topics together. Yeah, preservation versus flipping, tax liens, and buy and hold. I've done all of them, some better than others. My most extensive expertise is in, of course, property preservation and tax liens, but I have flipped properties, and of course I have done buy and hold. So this will be a really, really informative video, I believe. So before we do that, let's get into highs and lows. Let's see. Hi, I'm back in Chicago. I love the city. It is fantastic. Every time I fly in, I look at the view. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful here. So I'm very excited to be here and happy to, be in a position to be getting ready to launch so many wonderful things, to our community. So you guys stay tuned for that. A low, one of our students, I actually posted in the alumni group earlier today that one of her subs found a dead body at one of the properties. Apparently, the lady left a note, and she had been in her car inside of the garage since June of this year. And as I think about that, I am very sad about it, because to have been missing, basically for 3 months, and to not have anyone have noticed it or said anything or filed a report or even come to check on her is pretty sad. I do think that we are in some very not just trying, but I feel like there's something in the air. And, I'm always mindful of the fact that I think all of us, we have to really take care to notice just how close to the edge so many people are. And this is, again, I'm not talking about just Black folks, I'm talking about everybody, like in the country around, pretty much around, that's been severely impacted by this pandemic, which is pretty much everywhere. So I'm always mindful of that. So I try to extend a little bit more grace, a little bit more patience, not sweat the small stuff. As a lady who I went, this might be TMI, but anyway, as a lady who told me yesterday, I believe it was, she is a person, she specializes in colonics and something called acutonics, which I've never done. And she says, you got to let that shit go. Like, that's kind of her motto. So very fitting given her profession, right? So anywho, today we're talking about preservation versus flipping, tax liens, and buy and hold. So with regard to, let's start with tax lien investing. So tax lien investing, of course, we used to teach that program. We don't offer it anymore. We expired it in May of 2020. Tax lien investing is a fantastic real estate niche. The returns are phenomenal. You can buy a property to live in, you can buy a property to rent it out, you can buy a property to flip it, or you can buy a property and just what am I missing? Flip, rent it out, live in it, yeah, that's pretty much it. And so with tax lien investing, those are the obvious, and then you can also get properties for pretty much pennies on the dollar in many markets around the country. What are some other benefits of tax lien investing? If you're someone who's looking to buy tax lien properties and not actually acquire the property, but you're just looking to acquire the property and kind of gain interest during the redemption time frame. So redemption is the time frame during which the owner of the property actually has the ability to pay back all the outstanding back taxes, penalties, interest, etc. And they can, reclaim ownership of the property. So buying a tax lien does not mean you own the property outright. It's a very common misconception. So buying a tax lien means you have bought an interest in the property, which is superior to pretty much everything else, with the exception of course, the damn IRS, right? And if there's a bankruptcy, that kind of takes precedence as well. So you're buying an interest in the property. You don't own the property outright. And the redemption time frame can be anywhere from 4 months, as it is in Lake County, Indiana, to 9 months, which it is in Philly, to 2 years, which it is 2.5 years in places like Chicago, 2 years in Texas. But the great thing about places like Illinois and even Texas, that, for example, Texas, the interest is, gosh, I want to make sure I get my numbers. So I know it's double digits, and I believe it is 25% per year. So if you have spent, $100,000 on a property and the interest is 25%, well, over the course of the first year, you get $25,000 in interest, and over the course of the next year, the same $25,000. So that money comes and that money comes to you again during the redemption time frame, as long as the property has not been redeemed. If the property is redeemed, you still get your money back plus any interest that you have accumulated. And if the property is not redeemed, well, you get interest during the time frame that you owned it, that you were waiting, so to speak, and you get to actually keep the property. So there is a lot of benefits to tax lien investing. Now, the disadvantage to tax lien investing is that you need money. um, you do need money. Yes, you can buy properties for pennies on the dollar. However, there are attorney's fees, there are maintenance fees on the property. You might run into issues with squatters, or just having to, do exterior landscaping. You might have to do what's called a quiet title, which is where you're doing you hire an attorney to research the chain of title going back, since the property was built. That can cost a couple of $1,000s. If you're deciding to renovate the property, that costs money. If you're looking to place a tenant in the property, and let's say you want to do a Section 8 tenant, you got to get the property ready to pass inspection. So you do need money, and you need that money in relatively short time frames. So that's kind of the disadvantage to tax lien investing. And then also the waiting period. Like some folks, a lot of people are into fast money. I want to, build wealth and get my money real fast. I need an immediate ROI. So tax lien investing really isn't that. So I mentioned some of the time frames earlier for redemption, and you could be looking at 2.5 years. A place like Alabama is over 3 years. And if you run into issues, that can be extended. So it's not really a fast flip, for lack of a better phrase. The money will come and it's there, but it is not immediate. And a lot of folks are looking for immediate cash. So if you're investing your last few $1,000s, or you have a lump sum of money, you're looking to invest and see pretty quick returns, tax lien investing is not going to be it. The only exception to that is if you have money to buy a more expensive property, and you're going into a place like let's say Lake County, Indiana, which has 4-month redemption timeframes for one of the sales that they hold every year. That may work for you, but again, it takes some money to be able to get to be able to make money with regard to tax lien investing. So that's the disadvantage to that. So again, you need money. You probably should have access to some credit or other sources of your capital, like business credit. And then also the time frames for redemption can be lengthy. So if you are someone who is not okay with waiting and you want faster returns on your money, tax lien investing probably won't be the best idea for you. If you're someone who is like, cool, I got a job, I don't need this money right away, I want to buy these tax lien properties, I'm okay with waiting, I just want to earn the interest, then of course then tax lien investing might be a phenomenal idea. All right. So that's preservation versus tax lien. So with regard to those two, I've been asked so many times, like, which one's better? Which one's better? Well, if you're looking for faster money than preservation, if you are someone who has, money that you don't need right away, shout out to you. Then of course, tax lien investing may be a better choice for you. All right. So let's talk about flipping, right? Everybody named mama still want to flip properties. Which I'm not mad at. I think flipping is fantastic. Flipping, you guys, though, let me tell you something. Flipping is stressful as hell. And I don't know why people don't talk about it. Well, actually, I take that back. I do see some folks finally talking about this a little bit, where they're being honest about, the disadvantages of flipping properties. But one, you need money. So everybody wants to do things with no cash or credit. So you got to have access to somebody's cash or somebody's credit if it ain't yours. All right. So you need those two things. And then also, you need the time in place to be able to manage the contractors. You got to hire folks. You got to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You have to pay the contractors. They're not going to wait until you sell the property before they get paid. So you got to contend with that. What else? It's stressful. So let me break it down and give you a better example. If you're someone who you're always losing things. You suck at making a budget. You've never made a budget. You hate things like managing your checkbook and you're always losing shit or you do make budgets and you blow them, then flipping is going to be a nightmarish experience for you. Okay. Flipping is going to be a nightmare for you. It requires a very high level of organizational skills and attention to detail. And quite frankly, a lot of us don't have it, right? I have it, but I gotta like really focus and turn it on, to make sure that I carry out the objective. So it's not something that's just going to come to you if you don't have that skill set already in place. So that's really the disadvantage to flipping. Now, of course, the advantages are the bigger paychecks you get from flipping. Like it's always fantastic to receive lump sums of money, but just keep it. And then it's been a seller's market for like the last year or so. I think that's starting to soften up a little bit, where buyers are starting to get I just saw one of my Facebook friends, Andrea, make a post that some buyers are now starting to get seller credits now, which before all the sellers like, nah, we not doing no credits. This is the seller's market. So now that's shifting a little bit. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. But you have to get the property on the market. You have to meet the timelines for the lender that you've utilized to fund the property. And they want their money, right? A lot of times, even if you go hard money, like they want their money, or especially if you go hard money, they want their money back within, the first payments are due within like the first 30 days. That's whether you have contractors, whether the work has started, whether you have, you're on schedule, behind schedule, whatever, it doesn't matter. They want their money. So that's something you want to keep in mind as well. But flipping really is genuinely stressful. The advantages to flipping are the big paydays. Those are nice to have. And of course, if you, not to get too technical, but you can then take those proceeds and roll it over into another property and maybe do like a 1031 exchange, and then not have to pay taxes on that lump sum right away as well. That's something you're going to talk to your CPA about. I got my accounting degree, but I ain't using it forever. So I barely remember any accounting. And of course, taxes is a different animal altogether. So keep that in the back of your mind. So that is really flipping. So who should do flipping? Somebody with cash, somebody with credit, somebody with good organizational skills, somebody with strong attention to detail, somebody who's good at dealing with contractors, managing them, somebody who has the money to pay the contractors during the interim before the property sells, someone who is good at making sure that they're doing a flip that is consistent with the other homes in the neighborhood. Flipping is the amount of money that you're able to get for a property once you sell it is contingent upon the quality of the rehab that has been done. And again, making sure it's on point with other properties in the neighborhood. So if you want to do like a little basic, clean, safe, livable rehab and think you're going to get top dollar, like that ain't it. These buyers are picky as hell and aggressive. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got to have this. I got to have that. I want this type of countertop, this type of flooring. Like people are really, really specific about what they want, as well they should be. So not to make fun of that, but you got to make sure that your rehab is on point in order to generate the amount of money that you're looking to make during the flip. And if your numbers are off, that means your profit is going to go down. I've talked to people who are in the middle of flips and I'll be like, oh, what's the ARV, the after repair value? And they don't know. It's like, well, if you don't know that, I don't know how well this is going to go for you. And last but not least, the cost of materials has like tripled or quadrupled in some cases. So we're talking 2x4s are, $7 now instead of like $2. Copper for plumbing has gone up. There's a shortage of a lot of parts for, cars and some of the like things like furnaces. So the cost of flipping has, I'm not gonna say I feel sorry for people who are in the middle of flips right now, but if your budget is tight and you don't have a cash or credit handy and you're flipping properties right now, like that's a tough situation to be in because the cost of materials has gone way, way up. And of course, you're going to have to eat those costs at some point. All right. So again, just to wrap up with regard to preservation versus flipping, if you have the type of money that you need in order to flip, and again, I would say at least $25,000, probably closer to 50K, either in cash or credit reserves, then by all means, I think flipping will be great for you. And again, aside from the money though, it's just really having the skill sets of being organized, having strong attention to detail, and being able to manage a contractor. So if you're able to do that, then flipping is ideal. If not, you might want to come back over and consider the world of preservation again. And with regard to buy and hold, I mean, that's an easy topic to cover. So buy and hold are for those folks who are looking to obviously just buy and rent out to long-term tenants. Um, of course, Airbnb is popular as well. I've heard, some great things about Airbnb, and I've heard some not so great things. I really think it depends upon the market, and again, how quality the property, how quality the rehab or renovation is for the property that you've purchased. But really more so market dynamics, and then also just the local zoning ordinances as well. So some places, you can't even do Airbnb, right? Because it's against some HOA, or if you're talking a condo, the association doesn't allow, short-term rentals. So those are things you have to consider with doing things like Airbnbs. In terms of long-term rentals, I think buy and hold is a fantastic, wonderful strategy. Warren Buffett, as he's of course into the stock market, but or really the leader of the stock market, I should say. He is a huge fan of buying and holding. He is not into like trading stocks. So if we talk about apply this to real estate, I think buying and holding is a phenomenal strategy. They're not making any more land, as my grandmother used to say, my mother used to say as well. So I think to the extent that you own land and or property, in multiple places around the country, I think that is, an excellent idea. The only drawback to buy and hold is that it's kind of a slower process. And again, a lot of y'all want instant money. I got to get my money back. I got to get my investment back. I got to build wealth. And it's not fast strategy to build wealth unless you're in a really hyper paced, hyperinflated market. Like, for example, my best friend lives in Boston, and properties there appreciate in value, within like a year. You see a massive increase, like double-digit increase in value. So if you're in a market like that, you may see faster returns. But outside of that, you're just looking at, the money that you get every month from the tenant that you have rented the property to. Hopefully that's enough to cover the mortgage. It probably will be, with a few $100 left over. And so that's really buy and hold. And the way people do that because they're looking for long-term plays, or they're buying a bunch of properties and doing buy and hold with that. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so sorry that I did this video so late. If you're on our email list, you guys, we did send out a discount code tonight. It is going to be good for the next several hours. It's supposed to expire at midnight, but we're going to keep it open a little bit longer because I did the video so late. So check your email. If you don't see it in your inbox, please check your spam folder for the discount code. If you're not on our email list, head to propertypreservationmastery.com in order to get on our list. So the next few days, we're going to be, hold on one second. Next few days, we're going to be talking about shady contractors and incompetent contractors, low profit margins, companies that refuse to pay, and other issues, that I have encountered over the years in working in property preservation. Again, the discount code only went to the email list. We're not going to post it on YouTube. So if you're not on our email list, please be sure to go ahead and get on it. If you know someone who's interested in the field, please be sure to send them this video and the prior video, so they can get more information. Like, subscribe, share the video. We definitely appreciate that. These videos are going to stay up. They're not disappearing like some of the other videos that we've done. And what else I want to tell you about? We talked about highs and lows. We talked about flipping, tax liens, and yeah, that's what I wanted to cover tonight. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow, 7:00 Central Standard Time. Fingers crossed. Actually, that I won't be late tomorrow, I promise. I'm not gonna be late any other day in the campaign. So all of the other videos are gonna be on time. Please be sure to tune in though for that. And then what else do I want to talk to you guys about? I think that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time, appreciate your comments and your feedback. Please leave your questions below so I can cover them during the live Q&A session on September the 28th, which I'll be hosting at, that's also going to be 7:00 Central Standard Time. And Sending you guys love, light, peace, blessings, grace, and clarity. Sorry about this camera. This it keeps trying to adjust for the light, and I'm in this hotel room in the West Loop, and the lighting is not the best. So apologize for that as well. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Bye bye.